All right, let's try this intro one more again. So, all right, I already messed up. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. So, last week I did a video on CarMax talking about their earnings. They released them a week and a half ago, and the video took off. So much so that I actually got contacted by a rep from CarMax the very next day asking me to take it down, not because of the content, but because I was actually at an auction there at CarMax on their premises, and I was doing some filming while I was there. So no problem, I completely understood. Actually, the rep that I talked to, he was as nice as he can be, apologetic, knew that I was just trying to do a video and not causing any harm or anything like that, but just because it was on their premises, they would appreciate it if I took it down. I'd have to go through marketing or whatever, corporate, all that crap. So I know you're watching. Thank you, Mr. P, for being as nice as you were about it. I know you didn't have to be. So the reason I know you're watching is because make sure I am staying in line with everything I need to do. But I am on my used car dealer lot and not on CarMax's, so I think I'll be okay. I know the owner. I've been married to her for 10 years, so I think it'd be okay to film here. But I wanted to make sure that I did this video again to get the information to you guys, because I think when the largest used car dealer in America speaks, especially if we're trying to pay attention to the used car market like I am, I'm a used car dealer, it's very important to me, we need to listen to what he says. So a lot of this information that they're saying was very alarming to me, because they were throwing up so many red flags of what they are forecasting to come through the used car market, what they're forecasting for the prices to be in the near future. And I think all that information is very relevant to the whole market in general, not just to CarMax. So it's very important that we need to talk about this information that they said. And I'm so sorry for my voice. I've been sick for the last few days, so just bear with me. I'll push through it. But if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, comment on the video. I try to get to every comment I can. I've got a few still sitting out there, but going to try to get to any questions you have. Is very important to me that I get to all of your questions, because if there's anybody I can help out there with any kind of car buying needs or whatever, that's the point of my channel, and I want to just do everything I can to try to get that to you. So let's just hit their numbers really quick. Revenue for the quarter down over 24%. Their sales were down 20% overall. Net income down 86%. That's a biggie. So overall quarter, poopy. Their stock price, I think, went down 10-12% in a day. Not good. But the thing that I want to talk about the most today are the things that their CEO said in their earnings call, because I think those things are the most alarming, and not even just for CarMax, but for the used car market in general. Now, this is a publicly traded company. They are the largest used car dealer in America, like I said. So they're going to have the greatest analytical minds that cover the used car market in the world. So these numbers that came out of their earnings report actually didn't surprise me at all. I've been going to their auctions for the last year. I've been noticing big time differences. So from what I've been seeing at their auctions, not surprising whatsoever. The auction that I go to about a year ago, what they were doing is they were running about 500 to 600 cars a week. Now they are lucky to get 200 a week. So what's that mean? That means that they're not getting trade-ins, and they're not buying a lot of cars to put into their auction right now, meaning that they're not selling a lot of cars. So if they're not selling a lot of cars, people aren't trading their cars into them. That's why there's less cars at the auction. And that is a drastic difference from going from 500 to 600 cars a week to now only running 200 a week. That's a crazy decrease in the amount of volume that they're doing, because the demand has just completely dried up. And we know CarMax, their prices, they're a little bit higher than everywhere else. They have less hassle, but you're going to pay a little bit more for that extra hassle, and people just can't afford it right now. Another thing that I've noticed that's up greatly at the CarMax auctions are the number of repos that they're running through the auction. Now, when you think about CarMax, you don't think about them actually repoing cars, but they do a lot of their own financing through CarMax. I don't know, I think it's called CarMax Financial or whatever, but that means that they are actually in charge of repoing their own cars too. So when people can't pay their payments, CarMax will go get your car. So this is not a business that CarMax wants to be in. The repo business is not a good business. It might be okay for these small buy here, pay here lots that are selling cars for $5,000. But when you're the size of CarMax, when you're selling the kind of cars that CarMax is selling, when you have cars that are $25,000, $30,000, you don't want to be actually repoing these cars, because there might only be a little bit of equity that a customer can put down before they're financing. And as we know, people do not take care of cars that they know are going to get repoed, that they're not paying for. There's a saying in the used car market is a customer will have money to do two things. One thing. They will be able to either make their car payment or they'll be able to fix their car. They can't do both. So if CarMax sells a car to one of these customers and something goes wrong with it, they're not fixing it because they can barely make their car payment anyway. And I'm saying all of that just to say that the repo business is not a business that CarMax wants to be in. So seeing their repo rate tick up, seeing the more cars marked as repos going through their auction is not a good sign for the market in general, because it just means people can't make their car payments. So another thing that was said on their conference call is that they are not going to be doing any hiring. So obviously they know that they're not going to be doing any growing as the used car prices are coming down in the next year, as they know that demand's going to be coming down. So they're freezing hiring. This seems like an obvious thing. It's a good call by CarMax, I believe, but no hiring in their future. So the next thing I want to talk about is probably the most alarming thing that was said on their earnings call, at least in my perspective. What their plan is that they're going to stop all their advertising for buying cars from the public. Now, that tells me that they know that the value of these used vehicles is going to drop significantly very soon. So they don't want to be in the business right now of buying cars, because they know that whatever they buy right now is going to be significantly less valuable 2 months, 3 months down the road. So if they can't flip these cars fast, which demand is down because interest rates are so high, because prices are so elevated, they know that they're going to be stuck holding the bag on the stuff that they're buying right now, because they can't just offer customers nothing, because there's other companies, you know who they are, that are still buying cars when they shouldn't be. So CarMax is not going to be able to buy these vehicles for a fair value of what they think they're going to be worth in a couple months from now. They're going to have to pay the market values right now, and they know that the market values right now are not sustainable. They're going down, and they're going down very quickly. So CarMax even said that they bought 40% less vehicles in this past quarter than they did the year before. So 40%, that's a big number of fewer vehicles that they're trying to bring in-house. They're preparing for this recession. They don't want to have a lot of vehicles that are going down in value, and they're actually putting it into practice right now. You can see it, because if they're not running these ads, if they're not trying to buy these vehicles, if they're even showing you in the numbers that they're buying 40% less right now, then they're telling you that the prices of these vehicles are coming down. They have to be coming down. They have the greatest analytical minds covering the used car market in the world, and they're saying, you know what, we know that prices are going to go down. All right, my voice is going. I'm trying to push through. So another thing that they said was that, as opposed to other companies, and you know the company that I'm referring to, they are not going to be dropping their prices aggressively. They have run models where they've seen that if they sell less cars but keep their margins, they want to keep a GPU, which is basically just their gross profit per unit, around $2,200, which I was actually surprised by this. I didn't know that they only made $2,200 a car. I think that's actually pretty good. That just means they're paying too much for their cars, because $2,200 a car in a company that's that big with that much overhead, I don't think is actually crazy. So kudos to them for that, but they have to be able to get in these cars cheaper. So what their plan is, and I don't totally agree with it, but obviously they know more than I do about their pricing models and everything like this, but they are going to try to not lower their prices all that much, and they're literally saying we're fine selling less cars. We would rather keep our margins up than sell more cars, because it actually works out for them on their bottom line better in the long run. And I actually don't think that they're going to be able to succeed in this, because the demand is so low and there's just not enough money out there. I think they're going to actually have to lower their prices, probably dramatically, just because I don't think they're going to be able to sell any cars if they keep their prices where they are. Making $2,200 a car I think is still fine, but they're going to have to figure out how to pay less for cars, and the stuff that they're stuck in right now, and they are stuck in stuff, they have to be, because stuff that they bought 6 months ago, 3 months ago, it's too expensive right now. So I think they are going to have to cut loose of some of that stuff, take some losses, and really, honestly, in my opinion, I think it's better to cut some of your prices and give your customer a better deal than it is to keep your margins a lot of times. I know the shareholders want to keep margin or whatever, but if you're able to give your customer a good deal, even on that level of company, you're going to make a customer for life. And that's something I think that CarMax could really capitalize on right now, is if they are one of the leaders to be able to say, okay, you know what, our prices are too high, let's cut them, let's make some sales, we're going to take some losses, but let's get some of this stale inventory that we got way too much in, let's go ahead and get it rolling out. And I think that would really be better for the company. But like I said, they have to know better than me, and if they've run these pricing models or whatever. But we're in a time period that we've never been in before. The demand is really low and the prices are still way high, so they're going to have to do something. They think keeping their prices higher for longer is going to be better for their company. We'll just have to see how it works out. I think that they should go ahead and start lowering their prices now, but the good thing about it, with them being a publicly traded company, we'll be able to see what happens in the next few quarters. I really think in a quarter or two, they're going to have to come back and basically redo this whole speech of what they did and say, you know what, we did have to lower prices because the demand just dried up so much. So the last thing I want to just cover is basically what a couple of comments that the CEO said. He said that price affordability was keeping a lot of people on the sidelines right now. Duh, we know that. Interest rates are always also hurting people. He said that the average monthly payment on their vehicles were up $150 a month per unit. So I mean, that should just tell you all, everything you need to know. Car payments were already high last year, but now their average unit, the price of a monthly payment, is up $150 year over year. And because this lack of affordability for all these used vehicles, he also said that he believes the trend is going to be down. He believes that the average selling price per car has to go down, because it just can't keep going how it is. And he also said that he thinks that it's good for the used car market for that to happen, and I happen to agree. If you've watched my videos, you know that I am begging for a price crash. We're paying too much for used vehicles. Consumers are having to pay too much. They don't have enough money to be able to afford what's going on. The average used car monthly payment is the highest that it's ever been, and it's hurting the consumer, it's hurting the buyers, it's hurting the sellers. Really, I mean, small used car dealers like me, we're getting pinched too, because we have to pay elevated prices. Our sales volumes are down, so we are making less money right now, even though prices are elevated. I keep seeing these comments or whatever that used car dealers, they're doing well because used car prices are up. That's not the case. If used car prices are up, we have to pay more. We have to expose ourselves to more risk, because we have to have more money in our cars, and because of that, we're selling less vehicles. So we would like to see the price of vehicles come down too. And just like CarMax CEO said, that as the average price of used vehicles come down, it's actually good for the overall used car market. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave me a comment. If you have any questions or whatever, throw them down in the comment section. I try to get to everyone I can. And as always, again, I just want to say thank you guys for the support, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.